Why, hello.
Oh, good evening, B. What's up?
I just went and saw the Joker movie.
Oh, you did?
Yep,
We will not speak about that.
good.
Why did you not like the movie?
Oh, I liked it. I just want to say my best material for my channel.
El bastardo. Look,
Yes, I am.
just don't drop any spoilers, and I'm fine. But yeah, I still haven't watched it, and I do have
Okay,
plans. I do have plans to do it. So
okay.
I mean, also FYI, you could have called. I'm just saying, you could have invited me.
Yeah, but I knew that you would have to travel, that you'll be tired, that we have to record, and I didn't want to waste your precious time.
Yeah, you could have been a salesman in
Yep, thank
another
you.
in another life, maybe. Let me ask you this: what do you think
Okay.
our topic is today?
Well, what we always talk about, bananas.
Bananas. Yeah, exactly. So a couple of weeks ago, like eight, I don't know. We had an episode that's called Ban Banana,
Yeah,
and it was a very fun episode because we talked about something that you actually enjoy doing online, which is banning people left and right because they're being trolls, uh,
yeah,
or or just idiots, or just toxic, spreading hate.
yeah.
And it has always been a topic for me, obviously because I hate the internet,
Yep.
but also because recently I've been a part of a group that moderates a big community of
Okay.
people here locally, all of them being IT people,
Oh
who join,
no.
who joined together to try to fight the changes that the government is trying to enforce upon good little IT people. And I've been ban banana has become such a topic for me in the past maybe 2 weeks. It's so ridiculous because I haven't banned a single person, just so that we're clear. But I have
Oh, you
so
wait.
intensely wanted to.
Wait. You're
Um,
a pan virgin?
no, but also good one. But no, I'm definitely not that. But in this particular community, where I should, in my opinion, be like a ban, a hurricane. I'm still a band virgin,
Okay.
and
Wow.
yeah, and it has sparked my desire to again learn from the master himself, the master of
Yes.
banana.
Approach, my child, and hearken unto my story.
Did you say hearken unto my story?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, your vocabulary has always been strange. Um, no, I mean you're such an eloquent person. Um, so much.
Oh,
No,
continue, say. Continue. Tell me how great I am.
yeah, at least you read the Bible, so that's good.
Yeah. You know, one of these days I'm going to write "Read me" on my Bible in the dust. I'm horrible.
Yeah, yes, you are. Look, before I humbly ask for your advice in
Yes.
this ridiculous matter, let me share
Yes.
with you and obviously the audience the crazy day that I just had. I mean,
Oh, please do.
probably for some it might not be crazy, but to me it looked like this day wants to fight me.
Okay.
I'm like
Before you start, just a little note.
yeah.
I think that you will find the Joker movie very relatable. Go.
Nice. Noise.
Noise.
So, first of all, for the entirety of yesterday, which was Saturday, by the way, we're recording this on a Sunday, and we'll
Yeah.
publish it probably tomorrow, which is Monday, which is when we are brackets supposed to end bracket publish. Uh,
Yeah.
and so yesterday I had this ridiculously persistent headache. Like,
Oh,
there's this thing, you shouldn't put up with headache, right? You should treat it with medication because it's ridiculous. There's no point in putting up with a headache.
I
Um,
agree completely.
Sometimes you can solve the problem, because
Hmm.
for example, sometimes you're just dehydrated and you drink some water, and soon enough, bam, the headache's gone. But sometimes you just can't get rid of it. You drink coffee,
Yeah.
it works for like 5 minutes, and then it simply gets back. Then
Yeah.
you pinch yourself very hard, or use that circle of massage thing, but it still doesn't work. And then of course you medicate. It didn't go away even after I took medication. So it was that persistent, freaking migraine headache. Um, and it lasted for the entire day. So I obviously woke up this morning exhausted. Like, I felt exhausted, like I had no sleep. And I did. I actually had decent sleep, especially, comparing to how long I usually don't sleep, which
Okay.
we talked about in our previous episode, anyways. So I wake up, the entire family goes to church. Finally, the four of us, because so many times either one of the kids is sick, or, there's like something else, like the older kid wants to poop. and then
Okay.
and then only I go as the representative of the family. I go to divine liturgy. So we went to church, and that was great. We went to church. We were present at the liturgy. Unfortunately, not inside because you can't
Of
contain the
course.
kids. It's simply not doable. So we had to be outside for the almost the entirety of it. But it was good. Finally, more or less a normal divine liturgy for me, and that was really, really great. And then we had some friends we wanted to talk with, and have coffee. So we went and had coffee and had a great time. And then it started. So what we do when we go to church, because I don't, just like you, I don't go to church nearby, right? I have to
Yeah.
drive to church. Like, probably people from let's say United States are like, of course you have to drive. But
Uh-huh.
no, in reality, in Serbia, in Belgrade, you have so many churches, that you can actually walk.
Yeah,
Like,
because Belgrade and Serbia are reality.
yeah, yeah,
Anything
and
else is a deviation.
yeah, exactly. Thank you for emphasizing that. You're so smart. But the thing is, I have to drive to church, and I'm very grateful that the church has a parking lot. It's not a big parking lot, but it's ours. I'm saying it's ours because that's what one of the priests told us directly. This is your parking lot. Use it.
Oh,
You know. And usually when we're talking about church parking lots, you're talking about priests only. But
yeah,
this is
yeah.
this is not this is not that kind. So what we do on a lot of occasions, we just park there, and then we go after church. We go to grab some coffee or something. Then we go back. The car would be there. Nobody minds,
Yeah.
because people. You're connected in the church. But there was a wedding today,
Oh no.
and an average Serbian wedding, I think, probably has at least 300 to 400 guests.
Yeah,
And
that's typical.
the first part of every Serbian wedding is the church wedding. Like, I think it's 99% of all weddings, whether or not they, are religious or not. They will do the church wedding. They will
Yeah,
frown upon the fact that they have to, like, pay the priest or something, but they will still do it because
yeah,
that's what you do. And you can imagine a very small parking lot being filled up with like 50 cars. I don't know. I mean, it's not
oh,
50 cars. I'm trying to use hyperbola just so that you understand how I felt
Yeah.
when I understood that I would need to like move at least like 5 cars before I could get out with my car. So obviously we had to wait, and we waited for like anywhere between anywhere from 15 minutes to half an hour.
Good thing that you have tons of free time, right?
Yeah, exactly. With a kid who is supposed to go to sleep at that time, that's her nap
Oh,
time.
goody. Oh, goody.
I mean, it's more or less easy with the baby. The baby, when she's hungry, the wife
Yeah.
takes care of it, and she falls asleep or something. But the older one, no, she's not that easy to deal with. But anyways, classic Serbia Balkan mentality thing. Nobody would even consider apologizing or anything, right? Furthermore, we didn't want to like discuss it with anybody because there's going to be a fight. Like people
Oh,
are
yeah.
going to scream at each other. Like this is a ridiculous nation. So we continue. Obviously, we had to wait for the wedding to be over for them to take pictures. Thank God there were no, gypsy choir thingy. I mean, not choir, sorry, gypsy band uh,
Yeah, yeah.
thing. So so it was more or less like half an hour is like it's ridiculously long if you ask me to wait for somebody
Yeah,
to
of
release you
course.
from the parking lot, but it's still it's acceptable. So we finally get home, and we already planned with the same people to
Hmm.
meet later for like some basic sports in nature, or for another coffee or something.
Yeah.
And I was busy answering to some trolls. I was answering to some trolls on that in that before mentioned community. So we were actually a bit late. So we actually went out like 1 minute before we should have already arrived. And I'm trying to exit the parking lot, and somebody blocked the entire parking lot. So somebody parked and blocked 100 cars, you know, and I'm like, is this real? Is this real life? Is this happening again?
Before you go on, when things like that happen, even though I'm not a driver, but anything of similar kind, I feel such an urge to go full vigilante, like puncture their tires, scratch their car, blow it up. You know?
Yeah, but you know what? Like that's what we talked about when we were in the church parking lot. And let's say we devastate their cars. It's only gonna prolong the suffering because you have to wait for somebody to remove those cars anyways.
No, no, no. But I would like to look at it from another angle. That way, they also suffer. You know?
Such a Christian thing to say.
Yeah,
Dear
yeah.
B, you're being a bad mouse right now. So uh,
Christianity does not apply online. Okay. Those people who
look,
say
B. Any sentence that starts with Christianity does not apply is is something. It's
is
something.
wrong. Is wrong. Listen,
No,
those people who say Jesus never talked about abortions or gay marriages.
yeah, of
Well, he never
course,
said anything about the internet, so we can be what we want online.
exactly. Online, I'm a furry. so the thing
Moving
is,
on.
one of the friends who we were supposed to meet was already talking with my wife on the phone, and
Okay.
she was sending me a message via my wife saying like if you're nervous right now, just go back, and we'll see each other next time, because she already like assumed that I'll be pissed off, which I obviously was. So I get out of the car, and I figure out that the car actually belongs to like a food delivery service,
Ah,
Walt,
okay.
that just recently started operating in Belgrade, actually, Volt. And I think it's
Yeah.
like an international thing. I think it operates across the globe. and I find a phone number, like you can see it in the car, and I ring, and they have no clue who that is, right? Even though it's their
Oh
car,
no.
you know, and I'm like already, steam going out of my ears. There's
Yeah.
already another car who is trying to get in. Somebody's trying to get in on the parking lot. I'm trying to get out, but this guy, and finally this guy shows up, maybe after like 5 or 6 minutes. And he's not showing up because somebody called him because I made a call, right? He's showing up because he finished whatever he was doing there, you
Yeah.
know. And he is rude as hell. He's rude. He's
Oh
being
no.
rude. So I'm in
Oh
this position right now, right? Kids in the back, the wife. I'm pissed off. I'm Christian, but I really, really want to punch this guy. Like I want to freaking devastate this guy. It's really not freaking fair. Like somebody's literally abusing you. Somebody's being a
yeah.
freaking bully. And you know what? It's the best kind. Like he is big, obviously a strong guy. So I'm like, oh my god, why does this day want to fight me? Because
Yeah.
back in the day when I was of that mentality, that would be the perfect pick for me. Like really, between you and me
Oh
and the
man.
audience, that would have been a perfect pick. And I am in my head listing all the things that should prevent me from even talking to this guy, right? Because as soon as you start talking with people like that, there's a possibility
You,
that there's going to be a fight, which you might not be an instigator of. They will be. And I'm like, counting all the reasons. Uh, Reason number one, God. you know, it would that would not be a good thing. Probably God would not like this. Reason number two,
probably.
I have my family right there with me.
Yeah.
Reason number three, add anything, because really, so he moves. Not without cursing or saying stupid
Okay.
things, but he moves. You can imagine that, like he's blocking 100 people, but he moves, and
How
we
dare you curse him?
exactly, and we arrive pretty fast. By the way, I'm so sorry for hijacking the topic. We'll get back to it.
Oh
So
no no.
we get to the Belgrade Lake, Ada. We get there
Yeah.
very, very fast. It wasn't really hard to get there, even though there was some traffic, but the road we took, we were just there, and we go into the parking lot. So right there on the parking lot, it's a big parking lot, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
cars. And there's this family on bicycles going right across that parking lot. And as a driver, you notice these things immediately. It's logical. That's how the brain works.
Yeah.
And I noticed in the second I went into the park, and I'm already, my brain is already calculating the fact that I'm gonna have to slow down so that they can move past me, blah blah blah. But I also
Yeah.
see a car getting out of a parking spot, like just like maybe 10 meters from
Yeah.
where I entered the parking lot, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get in there, and I'm, and it's all happening very fast. I'm gonna avoid the bicycles and all that, even though it's ridiculous. Like if
Yeah.
I'm a father, I would have never taken my family through a freaking parking lot full of cars, with two kids on the bike, a wife and the
Yeah.
bald guy, and I as I was trying to steer into that parking space, I noticed that it's very, very narrow, and
Okay.
we are a full car, and it's a pretty big car, and we would not be able to get out. So I'm like, okay, I change my mind and I go to reverse. And as the guy, as at that moment, this bicycle family, uh, they're
Mm.
already there. We're supposed to, um, and you know what happens? um, Within
Share.
all that nervousness that I had to endure, and I'm still pissed off. Like I'm not easy to cool down, right?
Okay.
This guy probably talking to his kid is like he's saying something to him, like move or something, so that this guy doesn't hit you, because obviously he doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
As,
Oh.
and there's two things that piss me off in this situation. One, obviously the comment pisses me off. Like really,
Yeah.
the comment is it's a stupid comment out of context, and you have to be like judgy judge to say such things. And but the bigger like what really gets me pissed off is the fact that I think about the situation like, and it's all happening in 1 second. That's how my brain works. I think about like 5 things at once, and it's like, I could have been a freaking crazy person who would have heard that comment, stopped the car, got out of the car, kicked the shit out of this guy in front of his entire family. So how is it that people make such comments while they are with their kids? By the way, again, big guy, bald guy, musculature, top 10, like, dude, perfect candidate for picking a fight with. and so sure. I mean, I commented, like I responded to him, but obviously I was going past him, so he might not have heard me, and I'm very grateful to that didn't happen, because he might have reacted in a bit of shit show, which is not the thing that you actually want, road rage and stuff like that. But anyways, it seems like the day was kind of throwing me bones, which I was supposed to bite on. And obviously, it all comes after a period where I'm like a bit more nervous, a bit, borderline depressed because of how hard things are right now with this new law in Serbia, work, blah, blah, blah. I'm like spiritual capacity minus 50, capacity to love minus 1 million, But anyways,
billion.
Yeah, desire to take it on somebody else, 10 million, because that's easy. That's the easy way. And unfortunately, when you're not in your best self, it seems like a very good thing to do, but it's not. So again, I apologize for hijacking the topic, but I can imagine people listening to this and being like nothing happened. Like, what's your problem? You just waited 30 minutes plus 7 minutes plus you got a stupid comment along the way. What's the problem?
Actually, I think that a lot of people have had similar days, and that they could really relate with what you just said.
Well, if you put into context that I'm like really hardworking throughout the week, that I barely have normal sleep, and that I cherish weekends as like, that's how I breathe.
Yeah.
I really hate when these things happen to me on weekends. I would do anything I can to avoid them, like even if it means like being stuck in my apartment for the entire weekend, which my wife would never allow. Which I'm grateful for. She's like, the weather is nice, we need to go, to nature or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, sorry for hijacking the topic. So, what's new in the ban banana world? Have you banned anybody recently? Please tell me you have.
Yes.
Thank you. Share it with me, man. I'm dying to hear something like that. I'm dying to hear somebody's exercising their rights to ban crazy people from the internet.
You may not like this story, and in fact, you may even side with my detractors, but that's fine.
Oh, first of all, detractors. Thank you, vocabulary plus plus. Please, if I don't agree with you, that it's going to be even a better story.
Okay, so this was a very minor drama on my Facebook page. And why is it minor? Well, because it's not on YouTube, and because very few people are actually following, the drawings and everything. Well, at least outside of Instagram. People don't get as exposed to, some things. So I noticed that there was a drawing that I didn't post on Facebook. It was posted on Instagram ages ago before I got a bunch of followers. And it is a verse from the second epistle of Corinthians. You know that verse, Satan transforms himself into angel of light, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the next verse goes, so it's no wonder that his servants transform themselves as servants of righteousness. So I draw three figures, to represent that. All three of them are standing in the puddle of blood, and there are flames behind them, implying that all three of them are in hell. First was Miroslav Filipovic. He was a Franciscan friar from Croatia. He was part of Ustasha movement, and he was a butcher. He used to play this game in one of the concentration camps. I think it was probably in Jasenovac, where they would take Serbian babies, throw them in the air, and try to land them on a knife. And the inmates of Jasenovac called him Friar Satan or Brother Satan, Prasotana, So I drew him.
You totally reminded me of that, and I totally could have. I could have just passed.
Okay, so
but thank you. This was what I needed to have a perfect Sunday. Thank you so much.
Of course, and I drew him, with a black halo, like a dark saint, sort.
No, he's not in hell. No way.
No, why no? Of course not. Everybody gets saved. So, person that I drew was Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad from Islam, and I drew him with in a green robe because green is traditional color of Islam, with bloodied palm. But I didn't draw his face, and I didn't draw his face because there are some Persian miniatures that depict Muhammad without a face, and I thought that was really cool because in iconography, it is very important that you show a face of a person. That is why when you have, for example, Judas, he's always drawn from a profile, implying his sort of loss of personality at his sin. And to draw someone without a face is, you don't even draw demons without a face, So, from iconographic point of view, that implies something really bad. So bad that you don't actually do it on icons. But what the controversy was caused by the second person that I draw, and that was Milorad Vukojčić. He was a Montenegrin priest of the Orthodox Church, Serbian Orthodox Church, and in 46, I believe, he was condemned for war crimes by communists, and in 2005, the Serbian Orthodox Church proclaimed him a saint and a martyr. And I was so pissed with this, because I have heard from countless people, priests, monks, at least one bishop, and so on, that all allegations against him were completely true. He was part of Chetnik movement, and he was part of what they called black trees. People who went, three people, and they went to execute people. And these priests, in fact, executed people, by shooting them at them. And what was specific about him, he would kill people with a sledgehammer. And he had a nickname, Sledge, or in Serbian, Maca. But, it sounds like a kit in Serbian. But when you know the exact origin of the nickname, it gets real dark. I was really annoyed with this. I don't think that he should have been canonized. And even if allegations were completely false, I think that the canonization should have been postponed for a long time. So I was like, okay, I do not agree with this decision at all. And if you're going to go to such extreme to canonize the man, then I will go to other extreme. I will draw him in hell. Like, he's the exact opposite of a saint. And people on the face didn't like it. And ironically, when I posted that image some 2 years ago on my Serbian profile, majority of people were like, "Yeah, go for it. You should have drawn him like that." There was maybe one iconographer who was like, "But isn't he a canonized saint?" And everybody else was like, "Guy, you really should check this guy out," and so on. However, what's the drama here? You got a bunch of these young guys who I can assure you never heard of the man, and they were, uh, either calling me out or calling me names. One of them called me a soy boy, which I that one made me laugh because um, you, the only people in Serbia who eat soy are people who fast. Like I wouldn't go near the stuff if I don't fast, and when I fast, I only have soy milk, maybe with coffee, maybe. I literally I never. But and remember Muhammad, how I drew him.
Mhm.
One of them actually said, "You have more respect for Islamic tradition than for Christian one." Oh man.
So you basically attracted a bunch of trolls.
Well, I won't call them trolls. I would call them edgy young people who think that the Orthodox Church can do no wrong. And a lot of people were along the lines of, well, church can't make a mistake when they canonize saints. Yes, it can. Except that it's very rare that it happens, like extremely rare, but it does happen, because like you don't have Christ himself descending from heavens and saying, Milorad Vukojic was a saint. I mean, personally, I would love if he's really a saint, because that means that he wasn't a bad person. I would love if he's truly a saint, but I don't see it, and some people have said, well, maybe this was, a tempered communist court procedure. Yes, that is true. That could be the case, but I have heard so many, uh, comments from pious Orthodox people who have written to the synod to prevent the canonization, and they just, ignored it completely, which is completely in character with our upper echelon, So,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
so
yeah.
anyway,
I do have a couple of comments on all of that, but I'll let you finish.
okay. But why is this important to this story? When somebody does something bad online, on the internet, on YouTube, and so on, everybody will jump on that person. Like a
Oh yeah,
pack of
Lynch. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
rats. For people who lynch, you're one person who's arguing with one person. But for me, that's like me arguing with a pack of 20 people, most of whom are not trying to, understand me, ask me further questions, listen to my part of the story. No, they're just name calling, accusing me that I'm a Muslim lover, that I'm a soy boy, whatever, and so on.
yeah.
So,
If you don't mind saying that you're a Muslim lover after you depicted Muhammad under that verse, that that's
yeah,
that's a bit taking too far. Like soy boy, I can't really understand why somebody would say that, but
yeah, yeah, me too.
it's at least fun. It's at least
Yeah.
fun. But saying Islam lover after you drew that, that's ridiculous.
And one more thing, saying that I respect Islamic tradition to a Serb. Okay, I will say this once. Go to hell. Literally, go to hell with
Yeah,
that comment.
yeah,
I was
you shouldn't
pissed.
say those things
Pissed.
though.
I shouldn't,
But I can understand why you got
I'm
why you
so
got mad.
riled up right now when I heard that. Okay, I know I shouldn't say that, and God forbid, uh, but oof, I was angry. However, at that point, I was willing to let whole Bible Illustrated go down the drain. Not something dramatic like deleting the drawings or nothing so drastic, but I was like, oh, I can't deal with this. I can't deal with other people. I'm bad at that. Like, just let it go. But then it simply occurred to me, man, this is this is literally, if I did that actually, I would literally be rejecting Christ. Maybe not like in the sense of rejecting Christ personally, but I would be telling no to him, to something uh, that I spread him in the best possible way that I can. I'm not speaking about a specific drawing. I can do poor drawings, crappy drawings. You know, some are less inspired than others, or completely devoid of the Holy Spirit. That's
Controversial
uh,
drawings.
controversial, yeah. And you know, it's not all a perfect and gospel truth, but on the whole, I think it does a lot of good, and I know it does. And you know, these people are just going to get, you know, annoyed at me for a drawing, but none of them are going to renounce Christianity or something, you know, God forbid. But at least the videos that I make and the drawings, well, drawings not so much, at least as of yet, but the videos at least help people. So why am I saying all of this? I decided to ban a couple of people, you know, the name callers, the um, a couple of guys even tried to a couple of guys even tried to justify what he did, you know, his crimes, by saying, well, it's the same like with the prophets and King David and Moses. And I was like, these guys are literally comparing a criminal to prophets and ban. Like, no. Why am I saying all of this? My peace of mind is way more important than you filling my mind with darkness, you know? Therefore, ban, you know? You can go on and whine and whatever and accuse me of what you want. I don't care. I mean, I do care. That is why I ban. But I think that the damage that I do with banning is considerably less than the one that can be caused by me not banning people. Now you share your point of view.
Oof. You raised a couple of topics there. Uh,
Yeah.
let's start with the fact that the church obviously made a very controversial canonization. Obviously, it's a template canonization. Whomever was persecuted by communists is, you know,
Precisely.
has went through, you know, suffering for Christ. Um, okay, even the murderers guy. So look, it was your choice to make a controversial drawing. If you're drawing a controversial person, it's your choice to make that drawing a controversial drawing. So you probably could have expected some, you know, backlash. Second of all, I do think by doing so, you not only have expressed your point of view, but you also kind of expressed your dissatisfaction with the church,
Yeah.
which, you know, some people might perceive as, you know, not okay. You know, I'll give you this. Whenever I see people passionately discussing um, something online that is, you know, about a, you know, religious Christian topic, you
Yeah.
know, I just stop caring about whatever they're saying,
Okay.
because in 99% of cases it's them, uh, you know, defending, pushing, and trying to force their own point of view on everybody else. That's not Christian love. Therefore, I don't care, you know, because whenever you have been approached in your life by a person with love, it never took that shape. You know, you know people buy their product.
Yeah.
You know people buy the
They're
way they do, like really, you know, you know people by their deeds.
yeah.
You can't just go ahead and assume, for example, if somebody's Christian, you can't assume they love you, which they should, you know,
Yeah.
or they should be actively working on getting there. in my case, because I mean, I'm sorry. There are times where I feel I love the entire world. I would love to be in that mode forever.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not, unfortunately. And at least I can make a linear connection between, kind of having a relationship with God versus kind of running away from God. You know, so that's good. At least it's a mathematical thing.
Yeah.
So one knows what to do. But then I'm going way off. So especially if these were like young people, nationalist kind of types. My opinion is you should have dealt with them by banning them from your page immediately.
Yeah.
I think that's a good move. When you're being attacked, it's never easy to bear, and especially when you're being attacked by multiple people online,
Oh yeah.
who people who have endured this, who felt this every day, they know what you went through, and nobody else knows, because it's a serious thing. People really don't understand what they're doing by doing so. Um, and the biggest problem of these online lynch, situations,
Yeah.
people are so passionately against something that they would, do anything to make sure you understand that. Like they will tell you things, they will berate you, they will do a lot of things, but they will not be ready to actually have a conversation.
Oh yeah.
They're not ready for a debate. Their whole thing is they want to go in, punch you in the face, and then go out and take the moral high ground. That's
Okay.
what they want.
There was one guy who opposed me, but he was nice, and kudos for him. Like,
You probably didn't ban him, right?
oh
Because
no, no.
you
I, I
know I
banned banned only a few people.
yeah, the thing is, people are just constantly being hypocrites, But I'm
Yeah.
expressing my opinion, even though their opinion is like you're a soy boy and you should die, like you know.
Okay. Nobody said that I should die, but Soy Boy especially hurt me because the guy who said that.
Wait, is soy boy actually hurt you? Even though it has nothing to do with anything.
No, 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 no. The word itself, not so much. I mean, it made me laugh.
Did you ask for an explanation?
I know what soy boy means.
Okay.
You?
No, I have no
Uh,
idea what it means. I
okay,
should.
I explain it to you. But before,
No, don't worry about it. I'll Google it. You just go ahead.
okay. Uh, I was especially hurt by that one because the guy who called me soy boy, he liked the page for quite some time, and he liked like majority of images that I post. And you know, I found it a bit fascinating that he would, and he's actually,
Sorry, I just read it.
isn't it great? I mean, it's funny, but uh, I was hurt so much by it because the guy has liked the page for so long, and I can't believe that he's so fast to turn on me and to know what I do, and split second they post something that he doesn't like. Soy boy, what? Like, oh man, it was like we discussed that on I can't remember which episode that was, but I think we discussed James Charles drama. You know how he lost a couple of these subscribers. The split second somebody made a bad video about him, and I was like, okay, these people were his fans. They looked up to him. Why did they turn so fast against him? The split second somebody says something bad about him. Okay, this is completely minor what happened to
Mm,
me, but that is the same sort of mentality. I can do everything that you like, but the split second I do something wrong, wham, name calling. You know?
yeah, yeah. You so so you supposedly utterly lack all necessary masculine qualities. Because this pathetic state is usually achieved by an overindulgence of emasculating products and or ideologies. No, really, really, you cannot be offended by that bullshit. That's ridiculous.
As I said, I didn't care about the words. I laughed. I laughed that I was offended by who said it. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, when I proclaim I'm a Christian online, I get
Yeah.
attacked by people who don't like the church just because I said I'm a Christian. Oh, God forbid you said. You know, I have this thing like writing a biography for being a part of this community, right? You know, and you have to write a biography, you know, so that people know who you are, blah blah blah. So I'm listing all the things I did, my contribution to the community, which is a template thing you do because that's the template that was, you know, brought upon us to kind of fill. And you
Okay.
know, and then I have to talk about yourself, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm like, do I put that I'm have a Christian podcast? You know, like you know, like, and the reason why I have to think about that because I remember this colleague of mine once asked me. I can't stop laughing about it, and it's been 3 years. He asked me, like, man, can I ask you something? I'm like, yeah. Like, man, I don't get it. But like, you're smart. I can see you're smart. You know, you're a very capable individual. How is it that you believe all that nonsense about God? You know? I love that question, man.
Man.
You know, because like he was like, I don't know many people in IT who are like religious. You know? Like, ew. Oh my god, it's amazing. It's amazing. And
Oh yeah.
of course I put it there in the bio because yeah, that's really me. And but anytime I would say I'm a Christian, I would get somebody attached to that and abuse that in a way every single time. Like they will at least think in their minds, like, look at this guy. He's a quote unquote Christian, and he's like, his, you know, he's so impulsive and has a temper. Well, do can you know a Christian? Does a Christian have to not have a temper? You know. But
Oh no,
anyways,
you have the picture perfect.
of course, you have to play. You have to be like a saint. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. So, but anyways, going back to you banning people, I think you should have, and you did good. You might have chosen somebody else. I'm not. And this is no critique on my end
Okay.
for what you did, but you might have chosen somebody less controversial. And you, but I understand you as an artist have your own way of expressing your points of view,
Well,
which
it was.
I also think it's good. I also think it's
Yeah.
good. But you know, you by having your content reach thousands of people, which is in your case reality,
Mm.
you do have to be mindful, uh, a bit more mindful that you think you should be, in in terms of what kind of reaction you might produce. I also don't think you know this is something that will you know draw people out of church, blah blah blah. And it is in a way your missionary work.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe you could have just simply chosen a
Well,
different
actually,
person.
this. Yeah. No. This drawing precedes the YouTube channel. You know, and
Oh, okay, okay. So okay,
it's
okay.
an older drawing. You know, I didn't. As I said, it got nowhere close the effect it had on my profile than it had on Facebook, and the only reason it got so much comments on Facebook is um, because I posted it like yesterday, and I deleted it because I literally couldn't look at it anymore. I was like, bad
Yeah,
vibes from this one.
but by the way,
Ruined forever.
fights, you know, especially online fights between people who are like religious Christian people and especially people from the same who subscribe to the same religion and ideology and all that, they're exactly the same as fights between non-religious people. It's exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
All the elements are there, and it's like every time you go into these discussions, the most important thing just gets lost.
Yeah.
Which is one, Christ, like God, and the second thing is healthy dialogue. They just immediately crawl out of that exchange or whatever it is, and it just continues on its own path, and sometimes keeps living much longer than it should ever uh, uh, you know persist. um, but yeah,
Yeah.
let me try to tell you a bit about my situation here, uh,
Oh, do
and
please.
how freaking frustrating it is, right? So government drops a bomb on the entire IT sector, by announcing a change uh, that is going to impact a lot of people and create a freaking mess in people's lives. It brings financial insecurity and it brings legal insecurity. It's very, very complex, and it has, like, we have identified four different groups of entrepreneurs who are impacted by this. So it's a big deal, and we find out, as people from the broad IT community, we found out that the people who were from our perspective, who are supposed to be our representatives, have been aware of this because they have participated. They've
No.
participated. They went behind closed doors to talk with the government, and I mean, you can even see, like, who people who have been there obviously kind of pushed this law towards a
Oh, that's
place that
backstabbing.
works
That's
that
not.
works for them. It's literally it's literally monopoly plus bad governing plus a huge disappointment in people who blah blah blah. And here's what happens, right? In a single day, a lot of communities start forming online because people are freaking out, panicking. People are connecting because they want to discuss this. This is new. And obviously, people are seriously hating on our quote unquote representatives. And a friend of mine starts one of these communities, which ends up being the biggest and the meanest community out there. And he creates a team of around 10 people who would help him bring this forward. And like majority of these people who are there from the very beginning, like, are great people, and you can see that they're looking at things long term. We talk about Balkan mentality, and the biggest problem with Balkan people is they can't look past a couple of years up front. Like 5 years, no way. Like 2 years, doable, maybe somehow. And that means people actually out of the blue want to create a community, a syndicate, a guild, if you want, uh, that can tackle this problem. But the problem is this is very reactive and not proactive. If we had this while they were working on it, they would either call us, right, to partake, or when it happens, we would have all the infrastructure and capacity and power to actually immediately react. You
Yeah.
can't you can't expect like 2,000 IT people to react on legal stuff. You have to
Yeah.
find legal people, lawmakers. You have to find experts and really invest time and research on best practices in Europe, in the United States. There's so much work to be done in order for you
Yeah.
to like challenge a law, challenge legislature. You can't do that in like 2 weeks. Like, what the hell? But if, of course, that's what people expect. They expect now we're going to join our forces, and now we're going to attack this change. Now we're going to prevent this change, even though that's not what's going to happen. If the government wants to make the change, they're going to make it. It's a freaking tsunami. You can't really, do anything about it except learn your lesson, create a community, and make that your first goal to
Mhm.
to deal with this new law by proposing a suitable alternative and lobbying and doing what needs to be done to make sure you fix what they've broken. But yeah, so we open up a Slack. The guy who is the instigator opens up a Slack channel, which now has 1,250 people.
Oh
So
man.
you can imagine how that looks like. And Slack is a live communications channel, not like a forum. It's like sometimes messages go. You can't really, one person can't follow on everything. Like
It's like Discord. It's like Discord.
yeah, it's exactly like Discord, and it's like you would need to be 24 hours hooked on it in order for you to follow up on everything.
Yeah.
And people start organizing things, and it works. It's not the best, blah blah blah, but of course it's an open channel, and a lot of people join, and very interesting people start joining as well, and they start being the loudest people there,
Colorful people.
not contributing anything, just asking things to be done, pushing people to do stuff, asking the core team like us who moderate the thing to put this on a vote, do this on a vote, and like all we did so far, like really really accomplished. We were able to create like a specification where we listed our short-term goals, long-term goals, and principles. Like, for example, if we're talking about principle, independent, technocratic, I don't know, stuff like that. Principles, which are going to be our guidelines to create this community. And people have been signing on it, right? We had, out of those 100,000 something, we had like 700 signatures, right?
Okay.
These are, niche people in a very specific niche. So, we are, and we also had our first, public announcement, which we did a bit informally because, we're not formal. We're still not formal. We kind of announced that we are being formed as a community and that we expect to sit on a negotiating table with the government as soon as possible. That was kind of our first, announcement. And we stopped in terms of doing anything, representing the community because we don't have democratically elected representatives. The next step is basically creating a formal organization where people are going to be able to vote for their representatives, people who will lead the organization, where people will be able to organize in teams, where we will be able to collect payments so that we can finance the freaking thing. You have to finance the infrastructure. You have to finance a law, people who will help us with the law, finance research. Like, this is no small thing, man.
Of course.
But these people, for some reason, these people are so entitled. I can't even understand. They're constantly, who is in the core team? Do you have any women there?
Oh no.
No. Like, that's the smallest. Why are we not attacking the government? Why are we not making announcements? Why are we not sending representatives here and there? And we keep spinning the same thing, like spinning in circles, explaining we are pushing towards organizing formally. You can't talk with the government as an informal group of people who have a freaking Slack channel. We don't exist. And we keep and they're like, yeah.
When I was at work a couple of days ago, I thought of a great Harry Potter spell, which is very powerful. You want to hear it?
Harry Potter spell. Okay,
yeah.
That's new.
It's very useful, especially at work, but it's also work on that Slack channel of yours.
Okay.
You can take your wand.
Okay. I'm not. Come on. Don't give me the step by step. What's the spell?
The incantation for the spell is Deflecto Blameo.
Yeah.
So whenever somebody says, "Why are we not making announcements?" Deflecto Blameo and say, Well, why don't you?
We tried that. So
Oh,
we tried explaining to people, like, because they're like, hey, let's do this research. Go ahead and do it. Why are you asking somebody else to do it? What's your problem? Like, go ahead and do it. But that's not how it works, because as soon as you start doing it, why are you not putting it for public discussion? Why are you not opening a channel to discuss that? Why? When is this going to happen? Why haven't you still
wine.
and this is like the thing is, it's like 10 people. We all have full-time jobs. It's like we all have families. We are doing our very best. And and can you imagine, like, how nice we're being, because we are wasting our time. We're going to spend our own money to get this thing going, and like a majority of us will not even be a candidate for leading the freaking thing. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, we're working for the greater good, pushing for good goals, pushing for the. We don't even want to lead the freaking thing. Do you understand? We are working for them, and they keep spending our time, wasting our energy, like social dementors. You understand? Like freaking leeches. And for some reason, it's like they never sleep and never do anything, because they're
Well, do you know why?
constantly there. They're in every thread, in every topic, constantly doing that thing. It's like they announced that there's going to be a quote unquote public discussion about the law, which, by the way, ends up somebody giving a lecture on what the law is going to be. It's
Yeah.
not even taking questions, or not even seriously considering them, and being a real bitch or a bastard. It's ridiculous. Like, this government is ridiculous, but it is what it is, and that's who you have to speak to, and you can't just you know sit down and talk. That's not how things work. You have to get to that you have to show that you're legitimate, and you can't show that you're legitimate by saying we have a Slack channel and we have 2,500 people who signed this. No, that's not how you do things, and you can't explain that to the freaking trolls. But they're always there, and I've started looking into what binds them all together. Like, what's their like what do they have in common, right? They are all in this or that way related to quote unquote democratic processes, meaning they're part of NGOs and funds financed by George Soros.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm like, I was like thinking, how do they not have a life and are able to even follow everything that's going on and comment in every thread and be like idiots? That's how. They don't work. They don't do anything. They don't. But anyways,
And listen to yourself. They don't have a life. They don't sleep. They feed off your energy. They're literal vampires.
yes, no, seriously, they are. And that guy, that Soros guy, he does look like a vampire. So he could be like, the elder elder vampire who has bitten the first five, and then the first five eventually created the army of freaking vampires. The problem is not that they're idiots. That's their problem. The problem is we haven't banned them from Slack, and it's a part of a constant discussion, because there's people who want to do it here. And there's people who are like, well, we don't want to show ourselves to be like, autocratic. We don't want to look like, we're, doing censorship. And I'm like, the entire thing is instigated by an effort of one man who has called upon a team. That team expanded. And like, what the hell? This is not a democracy.
You're not running a state.
And these guys are like, they're behaving the way they're asking for things, pushing for their own agendas, It's like they're freaking paying us. It's like, you from the core team, you guys need to do this, or you guys need to do that. Like, why?
Deflecto Blameo.
No, but seriously, like, why? Dude, I've been personally explaining this for like, I've explained that for like 15 times. It's a freaking endless loop. Like, I had like a bit of a mic down kind of a comment, and that's definitely my last comment. I was like, my principle from now on is don't feed the trolls. I'm not talking to you. Like, I don't care. You know, I'm not talking. I'm not talking to you. For example, let me explain to you the level of ridiculousness. Okay,
Okay.
the specification that I mentioned, which talks about principles, guidelines, and basically goals that we are building an organization around, which has been signed by the majority of these people who are on Slack. Majority of these people. Everybody else either haven't read it or haven't signed it, blah, blah. Now, somebody minds that we use the word hacker in the specification. And they're like, can we please remove the word hacker from the specification? Because it's a word that, like, dude, it's a big, because we are, a specification that is kind of inviting hackers and programmers and
Proper term is African programmer.
no, seriously, and they're like, this word is perceived, the hackers are perceived as criminals.
Yeah.
So first of all, the author of that particular part explains why the word hacker was used, which is basically, that word means something pretty good. But still, yeah, okay, sure, but it's about how it's being perceived as we're going to be a serious organization, blah blah blah. Okay, so besides the fact that we don't want to waste time on dealing with that one word, especially we have yet to form the organization, to actually formalize this, that's just a specification, that's not statutory, it's not law, it's not rules within the organization. That's something you have to create. So there's obviously time to deal with these things, and this is just a PR thing or something. But look, listen, and you explain that to them, but they keep on, they keep sending articles and shit like, this is how the word hacker is perceived, this is how the government writes about hackers. But and they're like, and we are ignoring it, the core team that's supposed to moderate the thing, we're ignoring, but then they start really punching the bag, like, why are you ignoring this? Like, what's wrong with you? Don't you want, you have to this, you have to do that. And we're like, first of all, you're suggesting that we change a word in a document that's signed by 700 plus people after they've signed it. Are you freaking crazy?
Yeah.
Like, do you understand? You're freaking crazy. Then they're like, the majority of people here are obviously against the word. Who cares? Did you sign the freaking specification? Do you want to pull your signature? What's wrong with you? If you didn't like it, why did you sign it? Well, I haven't signed it. I just joined. Well, who cares? 700 people signed it. We're not going back to create another specification to remove that word and have it signed again. Are you freaking crazy? Like, what's wrong with you? And then I go on explaining how they're entitled, how we don't owe them anything. We communicated a million of times that what we're working on, what our focus is, which is to create the formal organization, obviously, so that we can actually do something.
Yeah.
But they're like, okay. This guy was like, this is my top. Then you shouldn't call yourself digital community, which is basically our work title, which probably is going to end up being the real name of the organization. You should be called the band of whatever guy instigated the thing. Like you said. No, we didn't.
You should have.
Of course we should have. Man, we should have banned them like from the very first sabotage, because what they're doing is they're really sabotaging the entire thing. And by the way, I think for some of them, I feel like they're doing it intentionally. You know, there's an agenda behind them. There's somebody said that because the way they do it, like you can't be that big of an idiot, right? And unfortunately, I've been pushing that from the very beginning, and people were obviously reluctant. I understand why they were, you know.
Okay.
Their point of view is like you have a right to an opinion, and I disagree with you, but I will fight for your right to have that opinion and express it. You know, which is, you know, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Approach, because yeah, of course you can you can do that, but we created rules. We specifically created rules. We created guidelines by which we will moderate the thing, and these guidelines say if you're doing that, we'll ban you, and we still don't do it. So we're, you know, it's kind of a, so it's a stupid situation. We keep feeding the trolls. They keep coming back. They're bigger and meaner and badder, and it's a constant fight. Like, I can't wait for the day to not have to see those comments.
Ban. Banana.
Yep, and they've been very bad. You know, they've been targeting me directly as well. People have been disclosing.
Okay, you need to stop, you know, burn the troll, stake the vampire, shatter the Lich's phylactery, remove them. You know,
I can't. I'm not the one who instigated the community, and I won't, because I respect that. You know, we don't
but you
actually share the opinion.
But you can join the ban camp, you know, and
Oh, no, dude. I've formed the band camp.
oh,
every banning vote comes from me, because I know, like, I know where this is going, right? I can already see it, and you know, they definitely went there. So yeah, but you know, trying to do the right thing is not easy.
Yeah.
And I also have a temper, personally, so I've been falling into the fire too many times by even trying to use arguments and facts and all that, because that's what I've told you before. You know, people who just do these things, they are not interested in a healthy dialogue. You know, if you're interested in healthy dialogue, you come into every discussion with a clear possibility that you might be the one who's wrong. That at the end of that discussion, you might be the one saying, "Oh yeah, okay, I was in the wrong." You have people who are absolutely not ready to lead such discussions, which are people who are like, what I know, what I stand for, that's the only thing that's righteous. That's the only thing that's good, that's right. And I'm going to spend my life proving it to everybody else. And these people are the worst. I can't stand having conversation with these kind of people.
I can't even. Well, the problem with these people is that you're not really having a conversation with them, you know, because they're not listening. But you said that you say that other people are not so, you know, inclined to ban them. With enough exposure, I think that even the most timid IT guy will become a very pro-ban, you know. So I have no concerns in that regard.
It is what it is. The thing is, we're trying to we're trying to do a very good thing. We're trying to do that. We need this, man. We need this organization. It's like we are stuck. Like we are stuck between, like, everything else is government controlled.
I know.
You understand? Everything else is anything but independent. So nobody's really taking care of everybody's interests. Okay. So my point is, like, I belong to one of those affected groups, but I don't want to I don't want to solve just my problem. I want us to work on something everybody's problem, right? But we are constantly being sabotaged. We're constantly being sabotaged, basically from within. And I can't even imagine how it's all going to look like when these people actually become a part of the former organization, when they get a vote and stuff like that. You know, democracy is fine, but man, is it not the best when people are idiots. You know, it's like when people say monarchy is great. I'm like, yeah, monarchy is awesome, but then you get a fool for
Yeah.
a king or an emperor and you know, like a
Yeah.
crazy person. And that's the problem. Democracy sounds great, but then you have majority of people being idiots. And you know, how's that great now? Um,
It is the eternal problem with no solution, in my opinion.
oh,
You know?
absolutely. No, that's people for you, right? And I'm always just as I've mentioned, there's no difference between Christians, for example, arguing online, than atheists arguing online,
Yeah.
and especially in my case, IT people arguing online. And it's the same thing, you know.
Those are the worst.
People are people are entitled. People are like pushing their own point of view. They're being the smartest. Like, of course, you have except like these exceptions. I love these exceptions because they make it. They are the ones that make it worthwhile at the end.
Yeah.
Uh, but in order for you to actually get to that end, hopefully a satisfying end, you have to go through a pile of shit, and that
Oh,
pile
yeah.
of shit is people constantly sucking your energy, because I think at the end of the day, it's how they operate. It's their life energy. They don't have
They
their
do.
own.
Yeah. Yeah.
They lead them to empty lives or something, and then that's what they do. They suck other people's energy.
Undead are real.
Yeah. So basically, I'm in a position where I would personally just ban a whole lot of people who just don't contribute and always create a mess. That instigate you know, conversations. Do we have
Yeah.
women in our core team? Uh, I mean, thank you for that conversation, but you know, the core team is just a bunch of people who are moderating Slack. Well, why would we need to have
I
women
know.
there? You know, and I mean,
You'll survive.
no, no, but it's a frustration I've been dealing with for the past couple of weeks. So you can
Yeah.
imagine. You can imagine me spending my own, like wasting my own time on moving this thing, moving the needle for this thing, along with other people who are doing the same, and then constantly dealing with idiots. Like really, this is big. This is how being an idiot looks like. You're being an idiot. You're being disrespectful towards everything that matters.
Yeah.
So to me, that translates to idiot.
True.
And I can't really exercise my ability to ban. I can like
Had a bit of a hiccup there. Do go on.
no, I think Anchor actually, you know, did a good thing because I need to go to sleep. I'm getting
Likewise.
I'm getting up very early, traveling to Vienna. But anyways, I mean, let's just wrap it up, man. I apologize for you know, bringing
Ranting.
all this negativity into our conversation, but I also appreciate you listening to me because I know you're feeling my pain. Um,
I know.
Fortunately for you, you can do something about it because you're obviously the ultimate moderator of your own community. So I kind of envy you on that, but I also, on the other hand, do not envy you on all the toxicity and hate you have been exposed to uh,
Yeah,
in your
it's
YouTube
pretty
comment
mild.
stream.
Yeah, but it's pretty mild compared to what some people go through. So,
I'm pretty sure that's the case. Well, just to wrap it up, how's that guy from that drama we talked about before?
well, he's still posting, and I think that actually police got involved, so that they're not supposed to speak about it and to speak with each other again. So the guy is not supposed to contact that girl again, and they're not supposed to discuss drama online. So,
Interesting,
yeah,
interesting. In the light of a very local YouTube drama that's been
yeah,
happening here in Serbia, it kind of, you know, reminded me of this. But you know what's fun? For
yeah.
some reason, a German source has financed this Serbian YouTube drama. That's
Oh
crazy.
man.
As you should take a closer look. It's very funny actually. It's very
Oh,
funny.
I know.
It's a bunch of kids being stupid.
Oh man, nothing new on hilly Balkans.
Yeah. So thank you for another. Should I say pleasant conversation?
Why not?
Let's say thank you for another insightful conversation.
Well, you feel better afterwards, so it was pleasant. It was pleasant for me.
Well, I never shared this frustration with anybody in such a detailed manner.
And
So,
now you shared it with everybody, everywhere.
oh yeah, because I've shared this in my bio. Now people might actually listen to this. I don't think they will.
Oh, share it on Slack.
I
Share
don't
it
think.
on.
No, I don't care. I don't think they will though because I start talking about that a bit later into the podcast, and they when they start, they hear us talking about Christianity and stuff like that, will probably just uh,
Ah,
exit. But at least if somebody starts scrolling through it and starts listening, maybe they hear this. I would be actually amazed if somebody actually listens to this and for example talks to me or or for example points on me, in a public discussion, like, "Ooh, that would be great." I'd actually like that because, I never said that and would not say that, like in
yeah,
this form, on those public channels because I don't want to instigate,
yeah,
uh,
I know.
but I would ban. I would be a banana king, man. Like I would be the banana man.
Banana, banana.
You know what I mean? When
Yeah.
Eric eats a banana.
Oh, that's such a veiled reference, I think.
Well, he looks like a soy boy.
True,
Soy
true.
boy. That's new
Soy
for me.
milkshake
Yeah, look, I
with
like soy
banana.
milk, so the joke's on you, man. That soy milk is pretty good from organic soy, obviously, not from
Oh no, you did not say that.
yeah. I sound like a vegan.
True, God forbid. Well,
Yeah,
I guess we're at the end of today's episode. Are we?
yeah, we are. I'm just letting
Okay,
you. I'm letting you take the final word because I've talked too much.
okay. Well, guys, it was a great ranty episode from the both of us. Please remember to leave a voicemail if you want to ask us questions, comments. If you want to blaspheme against us, feel free. We will play it if it's not too rude. And we have a Patreon, so check that out. And see you in the next episode. Provided M returns alive from uh, Vienna, and provided I survive next work week. Bye.
That's not the best of endings, but yeah.
You could have done it yourself.
Yeah.
Why
Talk
are
to
you
you.
not writing announcements?
Talk to you in the next one, unless one of us dies. What the? Okay.
Yes.
No, they talk to you in the next one. B.
Okay. Bye, Em.
Bye.